Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize your neighborhood. Now pray for the soul of this explorer. It's time for 31 Days of Horror.
Hello again, welcome back to the 31 Days of Horror. I'm Terence McGuana, and today I'm going to talk to you about the 1963 ghost story classic, The Haunting. Anyone who knows me or watches my channel knows that I absolutely adore this movie, and I'm forever chomping at the bit that more people need to see this film. So let's get into the plot to this one. At the beginning of the film, we are introduced to the tragic 90-year history of the supposedly haunted Hill House, where Dr. John Marquis has assembled a group of people together who have had supernatural experiences in the past. Now, the whole purpose of this experiment is for Dr. John Marquis to finally prove the existence of ghosts. I saw this movie over 10 years ago on DVD. It'd always been one of those horror films that had been sitting there on a shelf, and I first became familiar with it through the rock band White Zombie, where Rob Zombie had used a quote from this film. Perhaps the supernatural is something that isn't supposed to happen, but it does happen. Great line, and I always wondered what that was from. It was off the album Astral Creep 2000. Astral Creep 2000, what a great album that was. That always bothered me. I was always wondering, what film is that from? What film is that from? And then I sat down and I managed to see The Haunting on DVD, and then it just, light bulb off in my head. I was like, wow, there's that line I've been wondering for years, because I always loved that about Rob Zombie and the White Zombie music, is that he would use all these like obscure quotes from bizarre horror films, and a lot of the time I could guess them. I remember the one, I just set up yours, baby. That's from Shaft. And he also used one from Dawn of the Dead as well. Brilliant. I used to love those records. I know out there'll be a lot of splatter queens and gore hounds that will be absolutely turned off by this film. But personally, I enjoy a horror film when the violence, the gore, the mayhem can be sort of ramped down a bit. I mean, I used to absolutely adore really gory, violent movies. But as I've got older, maybe it's just old age, or I'm just an old boring fart. I much prefer films that really use subtlety to get their scares across, and the Haunting is one of the best examples of that. What I really love about it is some of the camera angles, the lighting techniques, the music. One of my all-time favourite central performances in any film is by Julie Harris in this one, in The Haunting. She is absolutely terrific as our lead character, Eleanor Lance. And I think maybe why I'm so drawn to this character is I do identify with her personally. I have moments of paranoia myself, and anyone that knows me either online or in my personal life or at work, in my workplace, knows that I procrastinate, that I overthink things. When someone gives me a piece of information, my brain twists it round the other way, and it completely, I feel like I'm under attack. But in this film, to portray this, the character of Eleanor has this internal dialogue where you can actually hear her voice in her head. Now, I don't hear voices in my head, but I do play things over in my brain. I worry about, I worry about everything. I worry about absolutely everything.
Terence, when are you gonna man up? When are you gonna stop acting like a complete pussy all the time, annoying people online, making these pointless YouTube videos that nobody's gonna watch? Why are you doing this? Your subscribers are hemorrhaging. You're an absolute failure, right? You're just an absolute loser. Think about that boss you had 20 years ago. Think about that, hey? Think about him. Think about how successful he is right now. And you're still sitting in this dingy little apartment talking about horror films. Oh my goodness, what an absolutely lame excuse for a human being you are.
I just can't help it sometimes. I've got this, what I call overactive brain syndrome. I'm the sort of guy that when I go to my bed at night, I can't remember my manager's name from a job 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I will keep myself up all night going, what was that guy's name? What was that guy that was my manager in that job that I left 20 years ago? What was his name? What was his name? And is he out there thinking about me? Is he out there having sleepless nights thinking about what my name is? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. But that's the kind of thing that keeps my brain chewing itself up at night. Absolutely ridiculous, honestly. Now, let's get into the actual horror aspect of this film. This film doesn't have gore or violence or special effects of any kind. They remade it in 1999, and I've never bothered my arse to watch the 1999 version. I remember seeing a trailer for it and it had this terrible CGI to portray the ghosts and things like that, and I was like, that's not the point of The Haunting. The Haunting is all about, is this woman crazy? Are these people crazy? Is this place really haunted? You know, showing off ghosts and things like that, it just blows the whole thing out of the water. It blows the whole reason why this film exists. I really love early in the film where they establish that the actual structure of Hill House is really bizarrely designed, and it has this freaky staircase that is all sugary and it's ready to just collapse at any moment, where one of the former tenants of the place hung themselves. You know, the tragedy that is connected to this house is just absolutely palpable. Yeah, didn't say palatable this time, said palpable. Hey, learning. I absolutely adore the cast in this. Obviously, Julie Harris, she needs to be recognised as a really great screen actress. I know that she had a lot of recognition for her stage work, and well done for her, but this movie, this central performance needs to be seen by more people. I know, she has got to be one of the greatest paranoid characters on screen, and for good reason. She doesn't play it as, you know, that she is she's wrong for feeling this way. She had a supernatural experience when she was younger, and she's trying to get over the loss of her own mother, and that's something that I've had to contend with of late as well. And yeah, losing someone can affect your confidence in yourself. You know, you've lost this person who was, a pillar of your life. So the structure of your whole mind and your heart is being completely shaken. And that's one of the reasons. Watching it again, I watched it 10 years ago, and it was terrific the first time. But watching it again just yesterday, I really felt for this character more. I really felt more empathy towards her, and I absolutely adore this film. I know that out there you're looking for something with a lot more frights, a lot more terror, and you won't get it from this. This film is not a terrifying film, it's a chilling film. There are films that I would compare it to, something like The Changeling from 1980 with George C. Scott. That is a powerful film. I absolutely adore that. That's a great ghost story, and I would compare The Haunting with that or even the original Ring. You know, that idea of just, we don't need a lot of special effects and violence and gore and guts. We use camera angles, music, great acting, powerful lighting, just really such striking lighting in this film that really enhances everything that happens in the movie. It's not the type of film that you're going to be jumping out your seat, right, when terror, or hiding under the covers. It's just one of these films that's going to make you feel really spooky, and I think it's a perfect Halloween film. It's a perfect Halloween film, and you may disagree with me. I don't feel 100% convinced that everyone out there is going to love this film as much as me. But I really think you should step up to the challenge and give it a go. The Haunting is an absolute classic. And don't take it from me, Martin Scorsese himself, this is his favourite horror film. I mean, to be fair, he hasn't made a horror film as far as I know. I think the closest thing is probably Taxi Driver, but he knows a lot about cinema, and I agree with him. I think it's one of the best, absolutely one of the best. You know, the Robert Wise is such a fantastic director. He made great films such as West Side Story, Sound of Music. I wouldn't say Star Trek the Motion Picture, I find that a bit of a yawn fest. But I do love Robert Wise. I think The Day the Earth Stood Still. Yeah, he made The Day the Earth Stood Still. Great director, and he really knows what he's doing here. And now, thanks again for tuning in for another exciting episode of the 31 Days of Horror. If you liked this video, give us a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel, hit the subscription button, ring the bell for updates, and I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow with another horror film, and leave me a wee comment and what you think about The Haunting, if you've tried it out. If you don't like it as well, you know, I'm not going to be offended, you know, agree to disagree, all that jazz, you know. But if you want to argue with me about it, I'm up for that. I like a good argument. I'd love to argue about movies. So peace, love and rock and roll. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.